to mind is that person, right? Because it's top of mind, right? So networking is very important, and having an online presence, which I'll link to, your LinkedIn tips, is also very important. The truth about it is, especially on LinkedIn, people are watching, people are looking. I mean, from time to time, it's very good to put out posts, out there. It's very good to write about the project you're working on. In fact, there's somebody, who I just met him through LinkedIn. He reached out to me, and when it comes to LinkedIn, don't just reach out to people to say, oh, be my mentor. Someone you don't know, someone you've not met, right? It doesn't work that way, right? So this guy, he reached out and started talking about some of the things he had started to do. Specific projects. He came with specific questions for me to ask. It was easier to respond. Most times when you just go with, I'm this, I just finished this is my background, please can you mentor me? It's very likely that person will give you a template answer. And to be honest, I do that, right? Because there's nothing specific to help out with. But when you come with a specific problem or something, it becomes easier for that person to respond. So back to the story, and over LinkedIn, we had been, conversing until, there was a physical event where we actually met. And I realized that, informally, I had become the guy's mentor. Without even any formal, be my mentor, be this, we had started having lots of conversations. He's telling me about, the various projects he's doing. And the truth about it is, if there's any opening, right, in my organization or in an organization of a friend or something, he's going to be the person that comes top of mind, right? So I'm basically linking networking and online presence into the same thing. So it's very important that, you network, you meet people. But even in networking, make sure you are leaving that, lasting impression. There has to be something the person is living with, such that you are top of mind. Also, when it comes to LinkedIn, put posts out there, just be active, interact with people, connect with people. Be very strategic when you're sending out, messages, direct messages to people. Don't just send blanket messages. Be strategic. So, for example, you've met someone or a speaker, at DataFest, Africa. You can reach out to the person to say, oh, I liked your session. This was what I gained. And you can start to have conversations from there. It's always good that there's some form of common ground, as against just reaching out to say, introducing yourself and just saying, mentor me and all that. That most likely won't work. So that's what I would say. I would also say that there are various filters on LinkedIn, especially when it comes to job alerts and all that. You can set that up, right? And you can actually be very specific with the kind of opportunities you're looking out for. That's one. Two, one other thing I always do, so for example, I'm trying to get a data engineer. Sometimes instead I'm looking at specific companies because I know they have good data engineering capabilities, right? So I look at people in those specific companies, or I just look generally. I just type in data engineer. Now, one thing I didn't realize in the early days when I was still on LinkedIn was that it is very good that on your profile, I think it's the bio now. I think it's the bio. You should know, not even the about, what people see the first thing people see.
The headline.
The headline, thank you. I noticed that people used to do it, but I didn't understand it. So you need to put the things you can do. So for example, data engineer, data analyst, like that. And people put like slashes or pipes. It's very important because what I found out is that the search engine of LinkedIn actually optimizes for that. Right, so at some point, I also had to, make that amendment to my own profile. So what I found out is you type in data engineer, and the types of people you're seeing are the people who have updated their profiles to have, data engineer, data analyst, and all that. And those are the people that come first. Very important. It's also important that even in the about us, you put some useful information. One other thing that is critical is the tools that you can use, because a lot of times, hiring managers are also looking for people to solve specific problems. So they want to hire a data engineer, for example. They're looking for someone that, for example, can build a data warehouse. They're looking for someone that can use a particular tool, SSIS, DBT, and all those, tools. So it's important that you also put those things in there because those are some of the things they'll be looking out for. not just in your CV, but on your LinkedIn profile, which is kind of like your mini CV. Does that make sense? I remember, someone who was trying to hire me, and I'll just wrap up now, had looked at my profile and all that. I had got into the interview stages, and he said, "Oh, don't worry, I don't need your CV. Your LinkedIn profile, it gives me all the information I need." Right? So your LinkedIn profile should have that much information around your projects, the tools you can use, and the skills that you have. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Just to add to what he said about networking, and just to double this point, which is important for Propel that I represent. Peer-to-peer networking is also very important, which is joining with other people who are going towards the same direction. Meaning, you are in DataFest. Within DataFest, DataFest is a community that drives the whole understanding and adoption of data. But also within DataFest, there are smaller groups, DevOps, Tableau, like all of those peer-to-peer networking are super important because you'll find somebody who doesn't sleep, who has done 14 hours of work for you. He's going to teach you in 10 minutes, right? That's your game. So that's the beautiful thing about peer-to-peer. So don't just think about upward in terms of, oh, I want to be able to reach out to somebody who's really senior, because they are really busy. That's why they're really senior. They have tons of work to do. So they might not be very responsive at first, right? So I think peer-to-peer is also a good way to work. It's easy to talk to them. They are your friends. You can chat on WhatsApp or whatever channels you find yourself. And this takes me again back to the Propel community. And that's why we created like that page for DataFest where you can actually reach out to other people within your community, all right? So you can see all of the people. At some point, will be able to show you their profile. So you can see how senior this person is, how junior this person is, and you can reach out, connect with them, and be able to work from them. And also on Propel.community, we also have all of the specs we are pushing to you guys because you belong to the community. So there are learning credits on LinkedIn, on all of these platforms for you because you are there. So you want to pick up a skill, for example, in AWS, right? You want to understand how that whole framework works. We have free credit for you to pick up and learn for free, right? So those are things to enjoy because you are there. And this is just to double down again on networking and why it's important for you to do it sideways and, of course, upwards.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Taiwo. So I'm going to throw it open to the audience. We'll take one or two more questions. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Roland wants to say something.
Yeah, it would be nice to give credit to the DataFest community because I was looking for, yeah, guys, give it up. So I don't know if you guys saw there was one of the banks that was looking for an engineer, not data now, software engineer, and they put it on LinkedIn and they put on site. And after 3 weeks, there was 0 application. There was nobody had applied. So I'm saying that LinkedIn is not necessarily the place we go to find professionals. We actually reach out to communities like this. So if you're here and maybe your leg is still shaky, just understand that opportunities like, the ones that come from industry typically first filter into communities like this. And, I'm happy that we found a bunch of people that we're going to hire from the DataFest community. So that's one more credit to you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Roland. Yeah, so, time to take questions from you guys. Okay. So we'll do it this way. I will take 1 year, and okay, I'll take 2 years. Yeah. Okay, please come forward.
Hello, good morning, everybody.
Please introduce yourself. Tell us what you do.
My name is Malcolm Okonkwo, and I am a data analyst. Okay, so this question was supposed to be for Noji, who spoke on domain knowledge. So before I started my career path in data analysis, I first did some research. I watched a lot of videos, and people spoke about learning to analyze data first, know how to understand data, know how to work around it, know how to extract insights from it. Then you can now focus on the domain. So I wanted to just confirm if that is true. Do you need to first know how to handle your data, or do you need to first know the domain knowledge you want to enter before you now start working on data revolving around that and know how to handle it and work around it? And if you suggest, okay, learn how to handle data first, then domain knowledge, what tips do you give on finding domain knowledge? Because just like data analysis, there are a lot of career paths out there, such as software engineering, DevOps, and many people have jumped from one to another before they landed in data analysis and they just love data analysis. So I'm very sure that's the same hurdle they will pass through when finding the particular domain knowledge. So what tips or advice can you give in finding the right domain knowledge for you? So those are my questions.
Yeah, I think Ayo will help us with that.
Okay. So let me start with the first one, which is, should you start with domain knowledge first or technical skills first? I'll say there's no hard and fast rule. If you start with domain knowledge, all well and good. If you want to play in the data space, just make sure you also have, the technical data skills to match up with the domain knowledge. On the flip side, if you start as a data analyst, it's also fine to just start with, Power BI, playing around, for the first few months. But I think that ultimately, it's also important that you start to get domain knowledge as early as possible. And the reason I say that is because if you're a data analyst, for example, as simple as this question sounds, how many active customers does a business have? As simple as that question sounds, it's actually a very difficult question. Because if you're working with a Netflix, it's probably going to be calculated at maybe like a monthly basis or something, subscription monthly. If you're working with a financial services company, maybe it might be six months to 1 year. If you're working with some other kinds of companies, it could even be in days or years. Right, so what helps you is having domain knowledge for you to then be able to interpret the data into something that your stakeholders would appreciate and understand. So even though there's no hard and fast rule, I'll say that you can start either way, but if you're starting first with technical skills, which is where a lot of people start, it's very important that as soon as you can, get domain knowledge. I also want to say something that the fact that, you see, not everybody is going to play in the data space per se, right? And I guess I forgot to talk about this when I was talking about data roles. There's actually another role called the citizen analyst, and it's becoming more popular these days. And it's actually going to be very popular in the future or in the near future, because you find out that these days you're having people who want to stick to HR, right? Or want to stick to product management, but still want to use data in that role. Those types of people are citizen analysts. So they still want to stick to finance. They still want to write, ICANN. They still want to write, I've forgotten that HR, CIPM, thank you. But they want to be able to use Power BI to analyze HR data specifically. So you'd have those kind of cases. And we're going to get to a point where, just like Excel, Microsoft Word are very critical skills, or critical tools to use, the likes of Power BI would also become a critical skill in the near future. So that said, so how to get domain knowledge? A very simple way, when you join a new organization or when you're interning at an organization, automatically, the minute you start to work with the business and try to understand the business, you start to get domain knowledge. Another way to go about it is through certifications. So you might be interested in, financial stuff, finance and accounting. It's really not bad, writing ACCA or writing ICANN or taking some courses. So, for example, in my earlier days, right, because before I got into data analytics, I did consulting for 4 years, and I actually wrote papers for ACCA. And I'm realizing that anytime my team has to do anything finance related, that knowledge of debit, credit, this revenue, cost of sales, it always comes in handy, right? I also have someone in my team, for example, who, when he was joining, of course he was going to be working on a lot of financial reporting. I sent him Udemy courses, and I said, hey, make sure that before you join, or immediately you join, your first 2 weeks, take these crash courses so that you don't struggle, right? So I think that when you get a job, it'll help, but even before getting a job, if you find an area of interest, there are resources online, Udemy courses and all the likes, or you might even have peers and friends or certifications that you can take. All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ayo. So we'll take one last question because we are running out of time. And yeah, since we had a guy before, I think it's just okay to get a lady. Okay. Yeah, that volunteer.
Good afternoon. So my name is Timtokwa Gumbiade, and I'm a data analyst. My question is to Mr. Taiwo Ajayi. So you work as a project manager from your start of your career, and now you're into product management, and also data analysis in between. So I also work as a project manager for a tech startup, and I'm doing data analysis by the side. So my question is, how were you able to bring like a synergy between the two of them, that you were able to have something, you're able to use the two of them, because you mentioned that you had like, your tools were similar. So as a project manager and as a data analyst, how were you able to do that?
I think he sort of answered the question. It's just about domain, right? It's just domain. The product is just a domain. HR is a domain, right? What is happening to me for my own case, right, it was a little different. So like I said, I spent the first 4 years in consulting with expertise in human resource and did some bits of analytics. Mr. David, who came here, is everybody's friend, right, because he's strong in HR and of course he's good in analytics generally. So I learned with him and I did some work, right? So that was the first time I used data. And then when I moved into product, same thing happened, right? I started doing product, but because I have all of this data to play with, every time I was having to convince stakeholders, you know, as a product manager, you're sitting in the room all the time, trying to tell one person why this is the right way your product to go. It became pretty easy whenever I use data, right? To think about it, I used to use just very simple Excel, right? So at first, I wasn't even going to Power BI. I'll just take Excel, show you the numbers, show you the trends, and then you can't argue, right? I'll tell you this will happen. And then I can even sometimes use simple predictor on Excel. Just very simple things, right? That was where the basis of my own work started. And then fortunately for me, my first 2 jobs, I'll probably say all of my jobs are data-driven. So my first job was with the AI ML. What we were doing was predicting how stores were opening and closing in the US during the pandemic, right? It was very interesting. The only thing I had to learn was the retail industry in the US. That was what was important. Every other thing around the data, correlation, regression, all of those I knew. Of course, my MBA also helped, but all of those, I had those bases. The next thing to do was just to apply as you work with each person. And then now that I'm in the era of product data, which is like all of the work I do at Propel, just seeing how our numbers can grow, what we need to do, it's still with data. I'm just using more advanced tools because these tools can read thousands and thousands of rows, and then you're able to play with it and get the trend. So what I will say to you is, at every point in time, as far as you understand data, it will always show up in your work, right? Once you understand data and how it works, whenever you get to a place, even if they put you in a new role, you will take data and put it in there, right? So today, if you want to be a product data person, Pendo is a fantastic tool, Mixpanel, those are things to work with. But of course, the basis is still SQL. As far as you get SQL, every other thing on that journey like changes. I mean, there are people who are still bent on using Excel. Excel is still a great tool, right? Not just great for visualizing like Power BI and Tableau and the others who do. Of course, Looker is also a fantastic tool that's not popular in Nigeria, right? Looker is like Power BI. I spent quite a bit of time using Looker with my first US startup. I didn't know anything about Looker. But again, what helped was I understood the data. The commands are virtually the same, so you can move across board. So for me, what I would say to you is, if you understand data, any domain you find yourself, it will be easy for you to just apply it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taiwo. So that will be the end of this section. I feel like, just still one more question we can take for 2 minutes, and that will be all. Yeah, so who would it be this time around? Oh, okay, yeah, let's have him. Yeah. Yeah.
Good afternoon. My question is...
Your name, please.
My name is Ashafa Abdulatif, and currently I'm just pivoting in data. So my question is basically on, you said we should have an online platform and networking. What I see basically is most people, they tend to form their questions or they start around data analysis, but that is not their end goal. Is it right to like have a plan, like I would pivot into other roles, but I would start from maybe learn the tools? Like basically, is it the tools or the skills? Yeah, that's basically the summary of my question.
The tools or the skills.
I think I'll go first and then he will give you the very specifics. Depending on what your goal is, right? If your goal were to be like mine, I wanted to land a job, right? So if you have a goal, right, your goal determines how you learn. If your goal is, I just want to be a badass guy in data, it's fine for you to learn everything. But if your goal is, I want to get a job, I'll probably say you should pick one skill and start from there so that that skill is your in-route to the job. And then from there, you can keep picking up other things you want. But again, he can just go deeper.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Taiwo, actually. That's the answer. The most important thing is just to start, right? The truth about it is the skills are related to the tools. You really can't separate them in a sense. Yeah, especially the technical skills. But I think the most important thing is to start. When I started my data journey, I wanted to do data science. But where I was working, the Nigerian market at the time had not, opened up, because I was working as a consultant. It had not opened up fully for data science. So a lot of the work we were doing was around Power BI. In fact, Power BI just started then. It was around ClickSense, Power BI, SQL. Right, but I still had my eyes on data science, right? So while I was doing Power BI, SQL, which was my inroad, I started to learn R and later moved to Python. And, I kept moving and moving and moving. And what I realized was, at some point, it was really no longer about, I want to be this. It was more around, what problem do I need to solve, right? So at some point, I also moved beyond data science and I found myself doing some data engineering. I found myself doing some data governance. And today, it's really not, for me, it's really no longer about, I want to just do this one thing. It's not around what problem do I need to solve and what do I need to solve it, right? So what's most important, I started somewhere. I had to start somewhere. I had to start with SQL and the likes. And that's really what's most important. As you start to expose yourself to the tools, to use cases, to projects, you start to realize that even what you thought you wanted to do, maybe it's something else, it's another area, right, you want to focus on. We've had people who started as ML, experts who are even here, and they moved into, for example, the analytics engineering, and that's what they're doing today, right? So I'll say what's most important is just start the journey, and then as you go, you would adapt to it as it comes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ayo. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, so we have come to the end of this panel section, and on behalf of everyone at DataFest Africa, the planning team, the super awesome audience here, we want to say thank you for gracing us. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so one MiFi for one of our social media army. Really. Who's it gonna be? This one.
What did you say? Who are you giving MiFi?
One of our social media army. Who is it gonna be? Is it gonna be? A lot of
tweets. On tweeting. Are you not going to give me MiFi? Are you people not seeing my tweets? You said no.
I can see one. Yeah,
wow.
Looks good. How you profile yourself is very important. profile yourself like you're a top professional anywhere in the world. And that's coming from African virologist Oluwatosin.
African virologist Oluwatosin.
Okay.
That name is
Yeah. So you just want yourself a MiFi. Please come.
what's he or she? Anyways, are we feeling, what's the word? Are we motivated? Are we motivated? Ha. Okay.
Yeah. So please come up, introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Oluwatosi. I'm a data scientist in the health sector. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you so much. I mean, I've learned so much from that session myself, and I must say that I'm not on the planning committee, actually. So I want to, give credit to the planning committee for selecting the kind of panelists that can answer the questions that are burning in the hearts of data professionals all over Africa. And I don't know, this feels like breaking news or not breaking news. But if you remember, a while ago, someone was saying the hall is scanty. I think that was David B. or so. I'm happy to tell you that right now, we have over 800 people checked in and in this hall. And I want to put it into context. Like, you understand that today is a working day, so people are supposed to be at work or something, but somehow we have managed to gather this number of people here. I'm just hoping that tomorrow, that is Saturday, that this place will contain us. But don't worry, we did sell more tickets than the number of seats that we have. So we're confident that tomorrow is going to be fine. Quick announcement before we take the next session, and this announcement is for our speakers, especially if you are taking a workshop, the next workshop that's supposed to start at 11:50. We need you to go to where you're taking your sessions and start setting up your system. And I would just quickly describe where the halls are. If your session is supposed to be in Nairobi, Nairobi Hall is where we are right now, so you may just hang around. If your session is supposed to be in Abidjan Hall, Abidjan is the gallery to my right. One usher for Abidjan Hall. Workshop teacher for Abidjan Hall. Please, can you follow this usher to go and set up your system? Windhoek. I don't know, I know it's in Namibia, but somehow. Windhoek Hall on the gallery to my left. Please, if you're the workshop instructor for Windhoek, please go and meet that usher and set up your system. And then if you're the workshop instructor for Cairo, usher for Cairo. Workshop instructor for Cairo, please follow her. It's at the foyer. You have to go out and then go and set up your system there. And the last one is Luanda. If your session is taking place at Luanda, you're going to Julius Berger Hall. Please follow that usher. Where's the usher for Luanda? Why is there murmuring? Is there a problem? No, don't worry. We thought of you. We know that Julius Berger is far. When it's time for the actual workshop, we have a bus that is going to take you to Julius Berger. So, okay, so that's about that. Why are they not answering questions?
Guys, why are we not tweeting or answering questions? Has any guy won in my fight today? Just an insight. No one.
Unfortunately, I didn't.
Like, no single young man or guy.
Don't worry, we'll try to find a guy in the next time. No, but I can't just, what did you do? You just because you said I should give you, I'll not give you. Don't worry, we'll find something for like when we're doing the next one, we'll restrict it to only guys. I'm nice. I may be a feminist, but I'm nice too. Anyways, so for the next session, we're having a quick lightning talk from one of our sponsors. That sponsor is Sterling Bank. I like Sterling Bank. I've not worked for Sterling Bank before, but I think that they're like a very forward-thinking bank and things like that. So we have a lightning talk from Sterling Bank, and that lightning talk will be taken by Franklin Ikediaso. Franklin.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the vote of confidence. She said we're forward thinking back and she did not lie. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, y'all giving me weird looks. I don't look like what you think a banker will look like. Yeah, I get that a lot. But like she said, Sterling is the forward thinking bank. So people who work there are forward thinking. Thank you. So I will not take your time. I basically just want to show you a new way to live. And I will be talking to you very briefly about one bank and why you should get on one bank, if you haven't already, by the way. Okay, so what have I done? Yeah, thank you. So typically when people think of banking, a lot of people think of stress, basically. And then some of the typical banking pain points. So we have like endless queues, especially if you're a Lagosian. So probably takes you an hour to get to the bank, and then probably takes you 2 hours to solve your issue, and then another hour to go back home. So that's like 4 hours to solve something, right? Nobody likes to sit in traffic, and nobody likes to stand in a queue. I personally don't. So you have unnecessary paperwork. You want to do something, and they ask you to bring your liver, bring your kidney, do this, do that, do this, and it can be exhausting. I know, I've been there. Complicated processes. And you may have had times where you're like, oh, but what I'm just trying to do is this. It's very simple. Why do I have to do this, do that, do this, right? So this is also another typical pain point. Untidy issue resolution. You have to use multiple channels. And if you're on Twitter, every day you see someone screaming at a bank, oh, this has not happened. It's been 10 days, it's been 14 days. Those are some of the typical pain points. And a lot of banks today and a lot of financial services operators, you don't get any value-added services, which these are some of the pain points. There are quite a lot that I've not covered. I know if I start to ask you, you have a lot to say, but these are some of the typical pain points. And these are some of the problems we set out to solve with one bank. Okay, so why does this keep happening? Yes, thank you. So why one bank? And that's basically what I'm going to just run you through in a few minutes, why you have to get on one bank. So first of all, you enjoy self-onboarding. Like I said, your mobile phone becomes your bank. You don't have to go anywhere. You can sign up, create an account, and do whatever you want to do from the comfort of your mobile. Just like this lovely gentleman sitting here on his couch, he's doing everything. This is why you need to get on one bank. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to feel like a ton of paperwork, provide a ton of documents, have multiple trips to the bank. We've had times where you, in the past, you go to the bank, get an account opening form, go back home, fill it, come back, and they tell you, oh, you left your utility bill, and then you go back home, come back, you do like 3 trips because you want to open a savings account. That's all in the past. You don't have to do that. So enjoy self-onboarding from the convenience of your mobile. Saves you time. Duh, this is a no-brainer. So you know how long I have to spend time and energy on long bank queues trying to do something very simple as open an account or make a transfer. Very simple from your mobile. Save time, save energy. You make more. We have investments on one bank. You can make up to 60% returns on your Naira investments via Double. So Double is another app that we have, but you can connect to Double from one bank and invest your money. So not just save your money, you can actually invest your money and make more. Enjoy quick transfers. Again, from one bank, you can send money from your wallet or an account you have opened on one bank to anywhere around the world, literally within seconds. You can do this on one bank. So you also don't have to go to the bank, fill a telex copy, or go fill out a deposit slip and all of that. You can do this seamlessly. I know literally everybody in this hall likes the soft life. I do. And you can get that on one bank. Pay bills, buy airtime. You want to travel, buy flight tickets, pay your cable TV. You want to watch Big Brother, you can pay with your one bank app. Very simple, just like she's sitting on her couch doing it. Again, no stress. Track your spending. This is one of my favorite features. At the end of the month, I'm looking at, oh my God, where did all my money go? So at each time you want to make a payment, you can choose a category from some of the categories you can see, or you can create a custom category. So if you always like buying amala, you can just create a category for amala. You always like going to South on Friday, you can create a category there. And then you know that you look at it. And the good thing is with this information, you can now create budgets. You can see, oh, my problem is that I'm always spending money here, so maybe I can cut that down. This helps you track your spending, create budgets, and you can really see where your money is going. Okay, so, yeah, sorry. I think that was me. Getting a card is so easy. We will bring a card to you. You sign up, create an account, request the card, and we just bring it right to your doorstep. You don't have to go anywhere. And if you're a digital native who prefers a virtual card, you can also get one for free on the app without any stress. Your account balance is protected. This is also one of my favorite features. You can hide your account balance from prying eyes. Some of these prying eyes are often dressed in black and black. You know who I'm talking about. So I hope they're not around here, but you can hide your account balance from prying eyes. So they say, open your app. You just open it and I don't get money. Oh. So you can hide your account balance from prying eyes so that you don't lose your money. And throughout the whole month of October, you will get cash back on all interbank transfer charges under 5,000 naira. What that means is that all the charges, if you sign up on one bank today, hoping you will, all the interbank charges are going to incur throughout the month of October. We will give it back to you. That means you're going to get free banking throughout the month of October. Listen, interbank transfer charges stresses me sometimes. Some months I run as much as 5K, 6K. So this is free money we're giving back to everyone throughout the month of October on one bank for interbank transfer charges. So it is a good day to get on one bank. So download one bank today. If you want to find out more, we have a stand outside. Actually, we have a lot of freebies in our stand. You should come around. Or you can also visit our community center. Many of you know Cafe One. We are in Lenox Mall. We're also in Yaba, just around the corner. We're also in Chevron, where you can get the most delicious coffee in Lagos, get discounted workspaces, and network with people around Lagos. You can visit Cafe One as well if you want to find out more. You can get one bank on the Android Google Play Store. You can get it on iOS, or you can visit sterling.ng/onebank. Please come to our stand behind. We have interesting games, we have gifts, and we'd like to get to know you more. Thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's like me, I'll go and open Sterling Bank. I really don't have a Sterling Bank. Sorry to say that. Yeah, I like the idea of free transfer, because there are some people, it's not me, but there are some people, when they want to send money to you, they not say, do you have GTB? They not say, do you have GTB? When you not say you don't have GTB, they not say, I will remove 15 naira or something. And I'm like, it's just 15 naira. And some people, they will tell you that, maybe it's Dash, they wanted to dash you the money before. They not say because you don't have GTB or something. But yeah, I like the idea of free transfer charges. So maybe I'll go and open Sterling Bank account. So like he said, visit their stand outside. I know in the morning when we're asking what your expectations are, some people said I'm networking, saying all the nice things that they think I want to hear. But yesterday on Twitter, I saw all of you. You people say you're going to carry Ghana Must Go to come and collect swag and merch. And so visit Sterling stand. They have nice, fine things to give to you. Make sure that you visit the stand. So the next item that we have, soon we're going to be going for, very soon we're going to go for our workshops, but before then, we have one final item from another of our sponsors, a 10-minute lightning talk from Data Culture. Here's the video. Lightning talk for Data Culture. Okay, Mr. Okwe. Is it Okwe? Okay. Our sponsors, clap for them.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. So myself and my colleague would just be giving some tips about what we do at Data Culture, as well as just to also let you know it's a company you definitely should look into joining. So my colleague would just basically walk you through what we do at Data Culture, why I would talk about the opportunities that abound in when you work in data culture, talking from my own experience. And yeah, we're Nigerian, so.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dimnadi Agbola, and I'm a senior analytics engineer at Data Culture. Woo. All right. So, sorry. All right. Data Culture is a data consulting firm based in New York, with the headquarters in New York, United States of America. It was founded in 2020 by Gabby Steele and Leah Weiss. And at the central heart of data culture is our belief in three main things. Number one is that data is a tool to solving business problems. So we don't just look at data as just data, we look at it as a means to solving business problems. Number two, data maturity is not a destination. It's not a destination, it's a journey. So we believe that there's not just one thing you would do and all of a sudden you're a data mature company. It's a process. It's being better than you were yesterday or the previous month or the previous year. It's a continuous process where you keep iterating and getting better with your data. Number three, data work is more than building technology, right? It's about changing behaviors. And it's not about us building infrastructure, because infrastructure is very easy to build, right? You can build infrastructure for a company, but if the finance team doesn't use your data, or if the market team doesn't use your data, it's pointless, it's useless. So it's about actually creating a culture within the company where not only do they have the infrastructure, they use the infrastructure. Now, one thing we've noticed in data culture, and even amongst ourselves before data culture, so I worked in Thrive Greek, right? So I worked in Thrive Greek, and I was the first data person they hired, right? Okwemi worked in CarryWise, and he was a one-man data team. And one thing we've noticed in our experiences is that businesses tend to outgrow their data capabilities. It takes a while for them to be able to catch up to their data infrastructure to what they currently are, either in terms of size or in terms of their technical requirements, right? And at Data Culture, what we help companies do is speed up that process of catching up, right? So we know that you are doing X, Y, Z, right? But your infrastructure doesn't allow you to see such things. How do you do that? Well, we build that, and we want to help you speed ahead to the next phase as quickly as possible. So what companies or what spaces do we specialize in, right? Usually, companies that haven't yet built a data team or scalable data infrastructure, right? I think that's pretty clear. If you don't have a data team, if you don't have infrastructure on ground, we can come in, be your data team, we can come in, build your infrastructure. The business is starting to ask questions that can be answered efficiently, right? The keyword here is efficiently. So if you ask someone a question about marketing, about what's happening with your, like maybe churn, for instance, right? And it takes them too long to find out the answer, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. There's probably a problem with your infrastructure. There's probably a problem with your data processes. And that's where we come in. It lets you know that, hey, you can do this faster. You can get this information quicker. And number 3 is when the gap between the data that is being collected and the data that is being leveraged is too far apart, right? Like you're not using the data that you're collecting, which happens a lot. You collect a lot of data, but if you ask questions about it, you don't know what's there. You don't know the metrics in there. And so data culture comes in to help you with that. Now, how do we help organizations? So there are 3 ways we do this. Number 1 is data strategy. So we come in, we do an audit, we say, hey, this is where you are, and hey, this is where you should be. So we create a roadmap for you. Number 2 is a full stack implementation, right? So we implement a full data stack, and we have 2 teams for that. We have the analytics engineering team, which I work in and which Opemi works in as well. And then we have the studio team. So the studio team is our visualization team, and they are focused on all things visualization. So when we come in, we can handle all your data needs, right from your data sources all the way to implementation of dashboards or whatever you need further downstream. And the final thing is we also help people with their hiring processes. So because we know what your data strategy is and what you need long term, it helps us to be able to find people that would fit in your team as well for that strategy. And this is what a typical standard engagement looks like. We have our phase 1 where we have our diagnostic process. We then create our infrastructure, and that's phase 1, right? So phase 2 has data ingestion, data modeling, and then we have our BI/data visualization. And phase 3, even though phase 3 tends to happen side by side with phase 2, because remember, like we said, we don't want to create infrastructure that nobody uses, right? Phase 3 tends to be, we socialize and push for adoption within the company. So whether it's through education, and letting them see how much easier things are with their current infrastructure in place. And then we set up the data organization for success. So we can create like data leads within the different teams. So if you need any help with data within the finance team, this is someone that we've trained within your team to be able to be that point person, right? So those are things we do to be able to drive maturity within a data company. And these are some of our stacks. This is the stack we use largely, but it's also partners that we have, right? As you can see, we have a diverse group of partners, and we're also tool agnostic, right? So if you have particular things you want to use, that's fine. So if like you want to use Redshift, that is also very fine. So we have a number of them right here, and at this point, I'll be handing over to Okwe to talk about what it's like working in data culture and why you should want to work in data culture.
All right, thank you, Dimladi. Yeah, so in terms of why you should look forward to working at Data Culture, so to give you a bit of context, I've worked at Barstow, I've worked at Deloitte, I've worked at Carrywise, and now I'm at Data Culture. So I can tell you of all the 4 companies I've worked in, limited to location. So that means Dimladi and myself, we are Nigerians, and we have teams from Brazil, we have teams from Mexico, we have teams from US, we have teams from UK. So that means as long as you're skilled, trust me, location is not the issue, and the pay is definitely amazing. So now the next question part my ask is, how do I join? In case I'm interested, I want to join the culture. Stay glued on our social media and do. A lot of opportunities will be coming up in 2023. And definitely, you also want to prepare yourself to catch those opportunities. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mr. Okwe and colleague. So the next item that we have now is our workshops. But before we go to the workshops, so do we all have the link to the website that has all of the sessions? If you registered, you should have it, because we have like a ton of sessions and I may not be able to read all of them. Right now, the next item that we have is a workshop. After that, we have another workshop. Then we're going to go for lunch and networking. And then after lunch, we have 2 sessions of talks, which would also be in breakout sessions. All of the workshops are going to be in breakout sessions. I'm going to just read the topics and the venues for the first workshops. The rest of the time, you're going to look at it on the website and go to where you want to go. Even though we have tried to structure it such that you can remain in the same hall and attend all of the sessions in that place. The sessions are related, but you can still move around. If you want to, after the first workshop, you can change to Nairobi or change to wherever. So the first thing that I would do, please, I need everybody to pay attention right now. the first thing that I would do is to re-announce, I said it before, the locations of the different halls. So just take note of the location of the hall so that when you check the session you want to go, you know where the hall is. Also, there will be sort of placards in front of every hall that says what the name of the hall is, so that would help us. Also, very important, please, the workshop mentors or teachers, please also take note of your halls. Nairobi Hall is where we are, the main bowl here. Abidjan Hall is the gallery to my right. My right, that's your left, my right. Windhoek Hall is also the gallery to my left, that's to your right. Cairo Hall is at the foyer. You have to go outside and then there will be an usher that will direct you. And finally, Luanda Hall is Julius Berger. Like I said, we'll have a bus that will direct you. When we're going, I'll give you the exact instructions. But quickly, before we go, we want to do something light.
So, do we have anyone here today that today is your birthday? Oh, Felix, where are you? Yeah, anyone here today? Today is your birthday. Please quickly.
I'm going to count to 10. We don't have time. If
One.
today is your birthday, you need to come up to the stage at the count of 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.5, 1 and 0. Okay, a pass. Just two people. Do we have that? Like a table or something.
Okay.
Is there like a table? This one is too small. Something high. Which one? It will be too high. So this is us saying.
Yeah,
I
so
think we should sing like better song.
okay. I want to sing. Want to sing? Okay, help us sing.
Okay, we don't want to waste time, so just better song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Data Bender. Happy birthday to you. Why are you doing as if you are shy? You are not shy, I know you. Okay, just.
Yes, so
photos and-
happy birthday to you. Yeah, tell us your names and introduce yourself.
Okay. Good day, everybody. My name is Frank Felix, and I'm a data scientist currently studying at the University of Benin. Thank you very much.
Good day, everyone. My name is Rachel Lopene. I'm currently pivoting into data analysis, and then I'm in my final year as a physicist. Thank you.